Hi guys, this is my sister Brittany.
And this is my sister Tara.
And welcome back to My Sister's Nightmare
a horror review channel for horror fans.
by horror fans. Hello?
Is Tamara home?
You've already come by here.
Are you sure? Hey friends, and welcome back. We've decided to do something a little fun, so for the month of November, we're going to do a home invasion horror month. And to kick it off, we're going to start with The Strangers.
Ooh. Quick disclaimer before we get into the review, guys. Me and Brittany here are both recovering from colds, so bear with us with our voice and maybe a little cough here and there.
Thank you for your patience.
So yeah, like Brittany said, we're kicking it off with The Strangers, released in 2008, starring Liv Tyler as Kristen.
Love her. I love Liv Tyler.
She's great. And Scott Speedman as James. Of course, Liv Tyler is daughter of rocker Steven Tyler from Aerosmith.
Yeah, I love her. She's a great actress.
Really good actress. I don't quote me on this one, guys, but I can't remember off the top of my head if she's done any other horror or not, but she did great in this, I thought.
I can't think of any horror off the top of my head, but she's done a good range of things. Like, obviously, as everybody knows, she was in Armageddon.
Classic.
She was in The Lord of the Rings. I don't know which movie, if not all of them. Like, I really don't know. I just know she was in that franchise somewhere. So she's had a good range of movies. Yeah, I think she's pretty good.
She is. This is directed by Brian Bertino, and this was his directorial film debut.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
He did pretty good. Did you do the second one, just for curiosity? You know?
I don't know.
I'll be interested to see when we do a review for that movie.
Absolutely. All right, so the story starts out by a couple driving late at night.
Yep.
They're at a stoplight, and even though no words are spoken right away, you can tell that the mood is kind of somber.
It's a little tense.
It's a little tense. If you notice, there's tears going down Kristen's face. You know, so they're just kind of driving. It's either late at night or early in the morning. It's pitch black out. There's no other cars or houses nearby.
It looks like they're probably have come from like a wedding or a party or some sort of reception, and when they
I think it was a friend's wedding reception.
yeah, and when you get to the house, they're arguing and they're upset, and you can pretty much gather that he asked her to marry him and she said no. So they're not getting along, things aren't going well.
And I must add, to add to the awkwardness, the male character, James, had gotten the house already thinking that she was going to say yes. And there's rose petals everywhere and champagne chilling and rose petals in the bathtub and, you know,
Awkward.
very awkward. So Liv Tyler's character, you know, decides to get undressed, take a bath.
Yep.
James goes for some ice cream, sits down at the table, kind of upset. Calls, I think, his friend.
Yeah.
To come pick him up in the morning. He's, you know, leaves his friends a message saying, I know you're drunk, but basically I need your support.
Yeah, he needs to get out of there. They end up arguing some more, and at some point he leaves to go get her a pack of cigarettes because she ran out of cigarettes. Has there already been a knock at this point?
There has been. Yeah, so there's a scene where they're sitting at the table, kind of talking back and forth. And, you know, she just kind of says, you know, I'm sorry, I'm just not ready yet. And they go back and forth like that. And then, like in all good movies, a love scene starts. They start kissing and making out. And right as it's about to get heavy, you hear a knock on the door. They stop, and you hear one of them go, isn't it like 4 a.m.?
So you know it's pretty early in the morning.
So James goes to the door, answers it, and is greeted by a young woman, kind of standing in the dark. He goes for the outside light that's mysteriously not working. And as the girl's standing obscured in the shadows, she asks,
Is Tamara home?
He basically tells her no, that she has the wrong house, you know, kind of goes along her way. They don't seem to think too much of it in the movie. I mean, kind of weird that somebody's knocking on your door at that time, but other than that,
Yeah.
kind of a shrug off, I would say.
Yeah, a little bit of a shrug off, especially since I don't think it's their home anyways. Like,
It's like the James's family's
yeah,
like vacation
like some
home.
sort of vacation home or something like that. So like, who knows what goes on in this neighborhood? It's not their
Right.
normal stomping grounds.
Exactly.
At some point, James takes off to go get her a pack of cigarettes. The girl comes knocking on the door again, and things just really kind of hit the fan from there.
And may I add, though we'll get into the reviews and how we feel about this later, one part of a movie that just really, really aggravates me is in that scene you're talking about when Kristen's alone and the second knock comes on the door and it kind of goes haywire. Kristen bumps into the record player that's playing. And for the next minute and a half to 2 minutes or so, all you hear is do 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 do.
I think it's supposed to like add to the panic she's feeling.
I agree with you. That's probably what they were going for, but
Because
it
it
just
kind of-
feels like it goes a little too long.
For me, I agree with what you're saying, but for me, where they were going with that kind of worked because it adds to the panic of what's going on, adds to like the frightenedness of what's going, or like, it adds to the panic of what's going on, it adds to like her being scared that she's not even going to take the time to stop and fix it. But yeah, shit really hits the fan.
And you know, it's funny that you say that because I was rewatching it last night. And when she goes running back by the record player, I thought you could have fixed it right then, you know. But anyways,
she's like, nope.
so she runs in the room, shuts off the lamp, she's crying, she's super upset at this point. Oh, and we must add, she knows at this point that at least, because there's, well, I guess we don't know that at this point in the movie, but there's 3 strangers all together. And she knows at this point that one of them has been in the house because the smoke detector went from being on the floor to being on top of a chair. And the cell phone she plugged in is missing.
And at some point, I don't know what it happens, but it shows the cell phones burning in the fireplace.
Yes, it shows that a little
But
while
they
later.
don't notice that.
They don't. It just like the screen
It's
just
just
cuts
something
to it.
they show us as the viewer that is happening.
And another thing, one more negative I have to add in, and this is just, you know, part of some female-male storylines. It really bugs me that when Kristen says that, you know, they've been in the house, James, they've been in the house, you know, they took this and moved that. He's just like, no one was in the house, Kristen. You're crazy. I mean, he doesn't say that, but, you know, just basically like, no one was in the house. You're wrong.
Yeah.
Listen to your women, men.
For real.
Yeah.
Anywho, so yeah, James is home now. And there's several scenes, going back and forth with James and Kristen trying to figure out what to do, trying to get help.
At some point, they know that there's three strangers. I think they see one like outside in the window or like a sliding door or something like that. So they just know that there's three. They find out that there's three. Things are being moved around in the house, and it's really freaking them out.
They can't get away. The strangers trash their car, break all the windows, flatten the tires. And then, even with the car in that condition, at one point, Kristen and James try to leave, get in the car, start reversing, and the pickup truck comes tearing ass around the corner and smashes right in the back of them.
Yeah, so they haul ass back into the house. They end up, there's a gun in like a closet somewhere, and James ends up getting that gun and loading it up, and they're kind of like crouched down in a room with the gun. It's like a shotgun facing the door. And he's got it ready, because the minute he sees somebody in that doorway, he's pulled the trigger, and he does. It wasn't one of the strangers. It was James' friend coming. It was James' friend coming to pick him up. He killed his friend.
He accidentally kills his friend. The friend shows up, and I must add, fun fact, the friend is played by Glenn Howerton from It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Oh, that's fun.
He shows up, music's playing really loud, the door's open, he finds the trash car, and because the music's playing so loud, they don't hear that it's, their friend Mike. And yeah, pop him right in the head with a shotgun.
Pow!
Oh!
So they shoot their friend, and it's just a fucked up night.
We're tense at this point as hell now. James is freaking out, punching the door. Kristen tries to go and look at the body, and James basically tackles her and tells her not to look. They're freaking out. They're like, what the?
And there's still three strangers fucking with them.
I mean, they're outnumbered,
Oh, yeah.
They've got no way to get help, and then, at one point, kind of middle towards the end of the movie, James remembers that there's a radio out in the shed.
Yep.
So they go for that. So they go for the radio. James goes first, and then Kristen ends up running out. And like in every good horror movie, the good old horror trope, she falls and hurts her ankle.
So annoying.
So she's crawling, she's going, trying to get the radio.
Because she's in pain.
Oh, horrendously so. She goes in there, she's on the radio. Can anybody hear me?
Nobody heard her.
And then all of a sudden a smash comes down on top of the radio. And there's one of the strangers. Kristen screams. Ah! Crawls away. Crawls back to the house. So eventually, after much struggle, the strangers have Kristen and James tied up in chairs in the house. And it's daylight at this point. The night's kind of over.
Yeah, probably like 5:30, 6 in the morning. Maybe 6:30, depending on where in the country you are and the time of year. But they have them tied up and they're torturing them. For no reason. Stabbing.
I actually think one of the creepiest lines in the movie is spoken here, and it's when Kristen asks, basically, why them? Why are they doing this to them?
They were home.
And the answer she gets is that, because they're home.
So they're getting tortured. I think James gets stabbed a couple times. I don't remember what happens with her.
She gets stabbed too.
She does get stabbed. So the movie essentially ends. The door's wide open. Record player's going, I believe.
It's like spinning, you know, because it's gone all the way through.
And a boy walks into the house. What is he? In my head,
Like a couple
like a Boy Scout.
Mormon boys, or
oh yeah, like a couple
religious,
like maybe Jehovah's or something. I'm walking up to the house and they kind of peek in, and James and Kristen are laying there. The boys just slowly walk up to her. The movie ends with Kristen. That's it.
That's how it ends. She opens her eyes and screams. Credits roll.
So yeah, that's the movie.
That's the movie. You know, supposedly based on true events. After doing a little research on it, I guess the director was inspired by the Manson murders from the 60s. But also, when he was a child in his neighborhood, somebody knocked on the door very early in the morning asking for someone. And I guess the next day he found out that a bunch of houses in his neighborhood had been robbed. So it's kind of a mixture of inspirations where the director got this and, you know, the based on true events part.
It's a really scary movie. To me, it's terrifying because home invasion is something that totally happens. I personally am a huge true crime buff, if you will. I listen to a lot of true crime podcasts. I watch a lot of true crime YouTube videos, and it really is more common than people think. And you know, there's a good amount of it that's just random, like this was. So it's definitely not unrealistic that things like this can happen and have happened a lot more than people even realize. So for me, this movie's just truly terrifying for that reason. It's realistic. It could easily happen.
It's very realistic. Exactly. You know, it could, you know, there's no supernatural elements or anything. This is all very believable stuff that, like you said, happens.
Home invasion is terrifying. It's one of my worst nightmares, especially not living on the greatest street in the greatest town.
It's definitely terrifying.
Yeah, it's very scary. So let's get into the ratings.
So the ratings for this, IMDb gave it a 6.1.
I feel like they give it a 6.1 for everything.
Yeah, I feel like 6 something is generally their average. And Rotten Tomatoes gave it a 48%.
I disagree with that.
I was like, what would you rate it going from 0 to 5 stars?
I mean, I feel like I'm just super biased because I love the movie so much, but I'm going to give it a 5 out of 5. I think it was well done. I think it was really scary. I think the acting was fantastic. It wasn't too long, but it was long enough for you to really just get spooked.
Absolutely.
Great movie.
For me, I would give it probably 4 stars. Really good film. It's something I watch about once a year, every other year or so. You know, other than the couple things I mentioned earlier that just kind of irked me about it, I think it's a pretty solid film, you know. It spawned a sequel, which I'm sure we will be reviewing in the future.
It's not, the sequel's not bad. It's just definitely doesn't hold up.
Got some problems in the acting department, but we'll talk about that when the time comes. But yeah, solid movie, scary movie.
Solid movie, scary. Great movie to pick for starting off Home Invasion, but then we have a really good lineup for you guys.
Yeah, awesome.
And I think this movie was a great kickoff.
Great kickoff. You know, I know for me, even though there's lots of home invasion horror movies, this is one of the first ones that kind of percolates in my head.
First one that pops into my head, and it's one of my favorite. Like, we have a good lineup coming, and this is still probably my favorite out of what we have coming.
One of
like
them
I
for
said,
sure.
we have great ones coming, and I can't even pick a favorite horror movie in general, but this is just a movie I've enjoyed for a really long time. So I'm pumped that we started off with this, and I can't wait to do our next one.
Me too. And another fun thing, guys, is in the lineup for this month, there's a couple movies in there that we've actually never seen before. So they'll be first time watches for us. So really excited, super excited to get these videos out. So thank you for watching. Okay, guys, well, thank you for joining us on yet another horror movie review.
If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button, smash that subscribe button, recommend us to your friends, and until next time,
Sweet dreams!